Hi everyone, welcome back to Box Delights and welcome to this second little preview of Deckers. So I haven't got much more to show you. Last time I showed you the character profile cards. Here we are in Tabletop Simulator once more, so forgive the digital presentation. As soon as I have a physical copy, I'll be sure to share it with you. Of course, the publisher is sneaking out little bits at a time, and this is what I'm going to show you today. So we've already seen the character sheets. This is Kelly Nexus. Actually, I don't think I showed you Kelly next time, but here she is. So she's the flip side to Monty. All right, so there's Kelly's artwork if you missed it. But what I did want to show you was a couple of new things, which is an SMC card. I can't show you the backs of these cards because, again, the publisher's choosing what they reveal and when. So there you go. I'll show you what I can. But this is an SMC card. So this is Alpha-Moby. And over to the right here, we've got some command cards. So I'll show you that as well. So let's take a little look at Alpha-Moby. What's different about Alpha-Moby? We've got cycles and setup. So you can see we've got 1 copper, 1 silver, 1 gold. And here we've got his setup instructions. So this says place 1 black circle on each space on the purple server. All right, so what you'll notice is we've moved from terminology. So previously this would have said place 1 spark on each space on faith, and that would have been accompanied by these icons. So what we've done is we've kept the icons but removed the words. So this is hopefully encouraging those people who were focusing on the word and missing the fact that there was an icon here. So now they've just got the icon. So place 1 black circle on each space on the purple server. All right, so place 1 spark on each space on the purple server. And then place 1 spark on each decker's entry space. So in Renegade, these were called access points. Now they're called entry spaces, which is a little bit more descriptive mechanically of what they do. An entry space, so spaces on the network are called spaces. Where you enter it's called an entry space, nice and easy. All right, so there's Alpha-Moby's setup, and every SMC in the game, so every supermassive computer. So if you don't know the game, you're playing as hackers and you're going to be taking down one of these bosses. All right, Alpha-Moby is like the easiest beginner boss, and each SMC will have its own setup instructions. There'll be a number of them, as yet unrevealed. That's good news for those backers. We do have new SMCs for you to take on. I say backers, I meant this isn't being crowdfunded. This is going to go straight to retail. Anyway, here's Alpha-Moby and its setup instructions. So there's lots of variability in this game in the way the game is set up. You're going to have a modular network. The board that you play on is going to be comprised of 5 different server tiles, and on those tiles will be 6 spaces. Each server tile looks a little bit different. It's slightly configured differently, and the orientation of those servers is going to be different during setup. And then the boss that you're fighting, the SMC that you're fighting, is also going to be different depending on which SMC you choose. And the number of stars here reflects how difficult that SMC is to beat. So it's not a measure of how complicated, but really how difficult it is. All right, so you may find a very difficult boss that has simple setup instructions. You may find an easier boss SMC that has slightly more complicated instructions, right? So as it goes, Alpha-Moby is your beginner one. It's nice and easy and it has simple instructions. Right, so there's your setup over on the left, and then on the right here are the in-game instructions. Every round of the game, you're going to be spawning new black circles, new sparks. Okay, sparks are your enemies. In copper, there's going to be none. In silver, you're spawning 1, and in gold, you're spawning 1. These tokens, they're going to be circular tokens. They're going to, they look like the icons, the round black tokens. Tokens in Deckers are double-sided. So the flip side, if you flip one of these black circle tokens over, it'll have a white side. In Renegade, these were sparks and flares. In Deckers, it'll just be a black spark or a white spark. Okay, so we've removed the term flares, and actually how the white tokens get spawned is going to be different in Deckers to how it was in Renegade, so look out for that change as well. But there you go. Alpha-Moby's only spawning these little black tokens, not white ones. And there's its special rules. So at the start of the turn step, so every player has a start of turn step during their turn, they're going to place one on their space. So even though in Copper we're not spawning any, you do still get one. All right, so in and that will scale by player, obviously, because each player has a start of turn step. They're going to place one on their space. And that's pretty useful to you, actually. It's not always a bad thing to have a spark on your space, because sparks can be modified. And that's another thing to look out for. The modify rules have slightly changed. So the game consists of 3 cycles or security levels, and they get harder as the game goes on. So to start with, they're copper, and then they move to silver, then they move to gold. So the game kind of progresses towards its climax, and things kind of ramp up in terms of difficulty. Right, so there's your new SMC card. This lovely textured artwork. All the artwork in Decker is kind of reflective of the components in the game. You see this use of the hexes throughout on the artwork, reflecting the way that each server and the network will appear as a hex in space. Right, there we go. So that's your boss. The victory conditions in Deckers are you must succeed at gold. Okay? You succeed at gold, you win the game. But I'm not ready to show you objective cards yet. They used to be called countermeasure cards, now because it's called objectives. Right, so you'll have an objective in copper, 1 in silver, 1 in gold. That's what this is. 1, 1, 1. 1 objective in copper, 1 in silver, 1 in gold. Different bosses might have different number of objectives, particularly in silver. If you fail at copper and you fail at silver, you don't lose the game. You can still push forward, but if you fail at copper and silver, it's going to make the game harder for you. So you really want to try and succeed at these earlier ones, but it doesn't stop the game. All right. Succeeding at these means that the penalties are less harsh, or maybe you'll get some rewards. Typically you get a reward during copper for succeeding the objective, and at silver you tend to get a less harsh punishment. At gold you win the game if you succeed in the objective. So the game end conditions change in Deckers to what you saw in Renegade. In Renegade it was just survive to the end. In Deckers it now really is complete the goal of the gold objective, and that's really cool. It does mean that a lot of these gold objectives have changed in order to accommodate that new game end condition. All right, so look out for that. And Sebastian, who's been focusing on the graphic design and the clarity and the wording and the rulebook and all that stuff, has done a fantastic job at trying to lay everything out in such a much clearer way for players. So it's really clear where everything sits. It's all much more readable. I mean, these cards are relatively big, right? This is a standard card size over here, so you can see they're more than double. Okay. These SMCs are the same size as the character profile cards, so this text is properly readable. I've seen Decos go insane from a 5-blip trip on Moby's network when they weren't properly equipped, going in like some prospect straight out of sim school with nothing but a keyboard and a can of ginger cool. There you go. I had fun writing all this flavor text and lore that's going to come up. I wrote so much stuff that didn't make the game, but you know, there it is. Just little stuff just to make you feel like you're in this crazy cyberpunk world. Yeah, it's all kind of a little bit esoteric and yeah, fun to write, but there you go. All right, and these are your command cards. So you know this is a deck builder. So here's your command deck. These are the cards that you do stuff with. Every decker is going to come with their own unique deck. So there's lots of asymmetry in this game. And at heart, these are your basic cards. These cards come from the yellow player's deck. They've got the little yellow icon. At heart, each card provides a flavor of commands. So we've got a yellow command here, and TTS can be tricky sometimes. And then we've got apprentice, which gives you red commands. And we have data steal here, which gives you blue commands. And every action in the game will use these commands in different ways. All right. So red commands are used for attacking with. Yellow cards are also attacking, but they're more manipulative. All right. So they don't remove things from the network; they change things on the network. All right. So, and we'll see that in the modify action, for example, and the red in the infect action. So infect is attacking with your viruses. Yellow is modifying with your viruses. Blue is all about information and movement. They help you move around, cracking passwords, you know, to get into servers and move between spaces on servers. So blue is all about moving about. And then green is all about, so here's bypass. Green is all about using your cognition. So obviously as a decker, you're using physical commands, but also mental commands. And this is all about cognition and intelligence and being able to kind of using telepathic abilities. All right, so that's what green is about being able to keep that kind of notion of telepathy in your mind, which is what these images are trying to represent here. All right, so this is all about cracking codes and passwords and information. This is the blue. Green are kind of like cognitive telepathy. Red is about attacking. Yellow, manipulating things, changing things, okay, using your commands. So commands in the game are kind of like little programs, if you like, or actions that you're taking. Okay. And then lastly, we've got purple. Here's the black hat card. Purple is a wild card. So purple can be used as green, yellow, blue, or red, and also does things on its own. Okay. So look out for all these different ways of using commands. Now these are basic ones. They just have commands on them. Each one of these icons is a command. But you'll also have an advanced deck, and we'll see that at a later date when you can upgrade your deck, and this is where the deck building comes in, and replace these cards with more advanced cards that have more commands on them and text effects that can be used in all sorts of funky ways, combine with other commands. I mean, you typically don't ever play one card on its own. You always play one or more cards in combination. And when you start playing in with advanced cards, you'll find all sorts of new ways to do stuff. Okay, so you're powering up your decker through its deck of 15 cards. And one of the things that you'll see is that your deck is always 15 cards. So every time you upgrade one of these cards, you remove it from your deck. You bring in a new, more advanced card, and it goes straight to your hand, and you can use it straight away. So we have an upgrade area where all the advanced command cards will sit. So on your turn, you're not just playing with the cards in your hand, you're also playing with the cards in the upgrade area. So the upgrade area is like an extension of your hand. So when you're playing the game, unlike other deck builders where you're just playing with the cards in your hand, you buy a card, it goes to your discard pile, you'll use it next time. You're using the cards in your hand and everything that's in the upgrade area. And you're looking at, you kind of got to see your hand and the upgrade area as an extension of your hand, as everything that's in your toolkit for this turn. And there's also advanced cards that let you play with what's in the upgrade area, play with what's in your hand, swap cards in and out of your deck, that kind of stuff. There's all sorts of funky stuff. As the game advances, you'll get more and more sophisticated. And what's interesting too is you're not just playing with your deck and upgrading your deck, but you're putting out these little programs. You're installing and uploading programs to the network that let you act upon the network. So they're like little programs that you've installed somewhere, and then you're using these commands to control them and make them do powerful stuff. So it's a real multi-dimensional game. And these deckers, and of course if you've played Renegade you're familiar with this already. But there you go, that's given you a sneaky peek at some of the cards and the bosses that you're fighting in deckers. That's it for now. Join me next time as more is revealed.